You may remember a couple of days ago, I uploaded a video playing The Day Before, this huge scam game that people didn't even think was going to come out, and it did come out, and it was absolutely horrendous. Yep, working as intended. Now, there have been some updates since I played it. Like, for example, every other streamer and YouTuber that played it also simultaneously hated it. No one liked the game. And now, a day after, may I add, a day after the game came out, the studio, Fantastic, is now shutting down. So the game is called The Day Before, and then they shut down the day after. You can't make this up. So I've already talked about in the past how the game was pretty bad, and then I played the game and it was pretty bad. What else is there to add? Well, it has now came out that pretty much every single asset that was used in The Day Before was just flipped and reused without permission. And keep in mind as well, a lot of these asset packs that they've like allegedly used weren't actually available until like October 2022. So this game that has had years and years of development, it's actually been in development for probably a year, less than a year. So here's a screenshot saying it was incorporated in October 2021, which tracks with the trademark register in January 2022. And here's a blog post talking about it being in the final state of development. And then obviously the trademark ID for The Day Before, because as we know with a lot of companies, of course, you build an entire game and the last thing you do is get the rights to it. For comparison here, do you know how many like new video game launches come out like every single year? And Pyrocynical is always one of the first stolen names? It is hell. Securing your name should be the first thing you do. Oh, and to refresh everyone's memory, by the way, originally when people said to Fantastic, why didn't you, trademark the name originally? They basically went on to say the trademark had technical issues, whatever that means. Also, the game was originally posted on Steam early. People saw that it was a buggy mess. They didn't want to touch it. And then they basically took it back saying, oh, it was actually a bug. It was a Steam bug. It wasn't meant to be on there. Gabe Newell just floated down from the heavens and actually put the game up on Steam for us. So here, when you look at the details on the Steam store, you can see that it actually had the tag MMO, massive multiplayer online, the thing which The Day Before is not at all, because originally this game was expected and hyped up to be a DayZ killer. Not like you've got to kill DayZ. There's probably about 7 people that still play that game. As good as that game is, like I'm not shitting on it, it is very fun to play. But again, the development team have not treated that game with the love it needed. But obviously, that's the main reason why people were excited, because they thought this would be another DayZ type game on a much more modern engine and a team that actually could, regularly update it with content. You've probably seen so many YouTube videos on this. I mean, Video Game Donkey, he literally did like a 7-minute video of it, and I think 4 minutes out of the 7 minutes was spent inside the tutorial base because there is just no content on the streets. And then after that follow-up of pulling the game, they basically just put out a flat-out lie, saying the so-called owner of the rights to the title is the creator of the calendar app, which has nothing to do with the game's category. After we announced the game in 2021, he also wanted to take over the title and filed for trademarks ahead of us. So if you don't remember, originally they said that they had like legal problems because they made the game, and then the last thing they decided to do was get the rights of the name The Day Before, even though the entire thing just looks like The Last of Us. But then apparently someone else claimed the trademark of it, and they're in this like legal battle going back and forth. How much of that is true, we don't really know. Now, there have been a lot more developments going on around the trademark. Like, for example, here where you've got Fantastic basically flat out lying, and they're trying to paint this character, Lee Sun-jae, as basically the bad guy, because originally, this was meant to be the person who bought the rights to The Day Before, and he was just like sitting on a trademark, which is unfortunately a pretty common thing in the industry. You do have people that will sit on the names of domains, websites, servers, trademarks, and then they'll basically sell it back to you for an exorbitant fee. They're basically the same as those kids that would like buy the latest Supreme drop and just sit on it, and people used to actually care about Supreme. But then after that, this whole trademark dispute, apparently it was resolved, but then they went on to say, no, we were actually planning on delaying the game anyway. So this whole trademark debacle, it didn't even mean anything because, again, we were going to just delay the game anyway. Probably because everything you've shown in trailers and stuff looks nothing like the final game. A perfect example, look at this gameplay right now of a character shooting a zombie, instant gun feedback. The zombie flinches, he dies, he falls over. And then go into any server on The Day Before and try that. When you shoot a zombie, it takes about 7 seconds for them to register. Oh, wait, I've actually just been hit. Maybe I should fall over now. What? Okay, that was very laggy. Just kind of ignored the headshot there. I respect it. Now, it's really funny because after the downfall of Fantastic, loads of messages have been leaked. Like, for example, this one of all the people on the Discord server that basically worked for free as volunteers. Imagine us as a dormant volcano, steaming with a simmering fiery core on the precipice of a spectacular eruption of creativity and innovation. Brace yourselves for an exclusive interview packed with numerous details about the development of the day before. This revelation, scheduled for release next week, includes exciting new screenshots and a captivating video. I like how I was talking about it like it's a trailer for the new Lord of the Rings film, when in reality the game basically died the day after it came out. And then to make matters even worse, some of the Discord mods were basically saying, you know, there's some technical issues with the game, we're not really ready yet. And then those Discord mods, for basically being honest, were fired. Like, for example, this guy, Wolf. Literally all he said is, please be patient, don't send any hate. And because of that, he was kicked out. How dare the Discord server have no arguing? How dare they? And this is where Fantastic made the most cringeworthy, poorly aged post imaginable. So they made this post like just before the game came out. And the worst thing about it is they're basically taunting people who thought the game was going to be a failure. The game didn't exist. It was a huge scam, which was a lot of people at the time. To a person who didn't believe in us, we made this game for you. We accept any kind of criticism and don't hold a grudge against you. Well, that's great considering your game's like DOA now. Before we continue moving forward together, kindly allow us to note a few things. Please forgive us for not doing the best marketing and teasers. We learned something new and improve ourselves. Okay, I'm going to be honest here. I don't think it's got anything to do with the marketing and the teasers. I don't think it's got anything to do with that now. We are past that point. The game is out now. We are definitely not complaining about the marketing and the teasers. That would be the equivalent of Rockstar dropping the new GTA 6 trailer and then being like, oh guys, it's such a mid trailer. Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry we didn't live up to the hype, guys. There was no one flying around with a jetpack in the trailer. Also, this line here that is aged like fine wine. Please don't accuse us of scamming. That's not true. We didn't take a penny from anyone. Hang on a minute. You didn't take a penny from anyone. So the day before right now is 33 quid on Steam, which is like just under $40, I think. So didn't take a penny from... Oh, I get it. I get it. We willingly gave our pennies over to Fantastic. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, by the way, but like the company's spelt fantastic just without the A, so I guess it's Fantastic. Also, this one here that is pretty bad. Please don't accuse us of asset flip. That's also not true. Our team worked day and night for 5 years to make our dream game a reality. The funny thing is, as well, Fantastic have tried to do a lot of scrubbing. If you looked at their YouTube channel, like before the day before came out, it was a bunch of videos of the developers together, you know, looking so jolly, looking so happy that they have so much money. But now, after the day before came out, they have wiped everything to do with themselves, and the only project that is still up that isn't actually about the day before is Prop Night. Now, I'm not sure if you heard of the game Prop Night. I think it came out like a couple years ago. It's basically Prop Hunt in Gmod, but on a better engine. But the thing is, that game, much like the day before, is completely dead. If you look at Steam charts right now, I think in the last 48 hours, they basically had 46 people playing that game. 46 people. Because again, they never updated the game. They never tried to add any new content. And I think they tried to switch to a new engine, but they did it like 2 years after the game came out with no updates whatsoever. And also the cherry on top, the icing on the cake. Here is actually some of the developers working at Fantastic that are flat out lying, saying, no, it's not actually an extraction game. It's not an extraction shooter. But if you've seen the game, you know that it looks and plays exactly like Tarkov if it was on the Nintendo DS. With like 7 zombies, the entire map, 3 human players, and you need to get loot and then exfil. Now, looking at the Steam charts of the day before, it is catastrophically bad. I think on like launch, they had around 37,000 players, which is pretty good, pretty healthy numbers. Usually what happens is a bunch of streamers jump on the game to get early views, and then the game will, you know, climb in attention. It will do better and better. Maybe 30,000, then 40, maybe even 100,000 if XQC or Critical streams it, and they say it's good. That did not happen. Look at this downward slope. That's for 2,000 players. The game came out like 3 days ago. How did you lose like 80% of your player base that quickly? Now I'm looking through a list here of like all the features that were meant to be in the game and they weren't. Like, for example, there'd be weather, snow, time of day, nighttime. There is like a day and night cycle in the day before, but it basically is pointless because you'll only spend around 40 minutes inside a map before you get gunned down or you exfil. There would be radio announcements as well, something that was just never in the game. There would also be proximity chat, but as we know, there is no proximity chat whatsoever in the day before. You just have like a text, basically. So if you're in the middle of a gunfight, you can't say, you know, down the mic, hey, wait, stop firing, and then probably, you know, gun them down anyway. You will have to open up the keyboard and hope to God you are a text chat warrior to try and put the other player down with nice words before they shoot you in the head. They also show a bunch of physics simulations and collisions, like when you throw a grenade or the fruit would explode and cars would fly everywhere. That does not happen at all. There was also like a deployable sleeping bag. I guess you'd use that as like some kind of respawn or something like Rust. That again was never a thing in the main game. You could also do animated finishes on like other players and zombies. Again, this is not a thing in the game. Usually because whenever you're shooting at someone, they're like, they are kneeling. They are kneeling on the floor like this, looking at their iPad, just like zooming back and forth like they're teleporting like this. That is the entire game. That is all they do, I promise. What? He's hacking. He's literally hacking. Did you see that shit? Flowing on the floor. Did you see that? Okay, so there's already hackers. Great. There's already hackers. There was also off-road driving where, like, you know, mud would slow your cars down. Again, you are only in a city with like 7 zombies. This is not a thing. They also said that there will be climbing and vaulting. Now, that doesn't even sound like a cool feature. That just sounds like an absolute necessity. They didn't even add that because I'm not sure if you remember when I streamed the game a couple days ago, I got gunned down by someone because I could not, my character refused to climb up a ledge that was like balls height, the height of my balls. That was it. Like, he couldn't do it. He just went, and then I got gunned down. Fuck. But that isn't even the good stuff, because on Reddit, we have compiled a list of every single asset the day before basically used. So they would buy files, use them, and then act like they made it themselves. Now, this was originally posted onto Steam. It was removed, probably from the day before devs. But you can see here, advanced third-person camera, $100. Ascent dialogue system, $70. Easy voice chat, $75. Full tag quest system, instance tool, modular snap system, sky creator. And then even the assets themselves, like stuff you find in the game, not even just for the mechanics. 7 car pack for $190. These are just cars that you'd find lying around in the day before. Backyard pack, barbed wire pack, bathroom set. They couldn't even make a fucking bathroom, so they had to like buy the assets from the Unreal store. Now, I could go through all of these, but there are, I am not even joking when I say this, hundreds. There are hundreds of assets that have been stolen and basically flipped, acting like they made it. So yeah, it's embarrassing. But this has to be the speed run of a company going down overnight, which makes me think there's probably some kind of like money laundering or tax fraud or, you know, something dodgy. There is no way a company would go bankrupt overnight over this. There is no way. They definitely knew beforehand the game was going to be a failure, tried to move all the money out, and then just act like, oh, we shut down? What happened? The game was meant to be such a success. What's the moral of the story? Just play DayZ. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the No Game Awards.